Imagine knowing the future before it happens. Not through magic, not through artificial intelligence, and not through a billionaire's prediction, but through thousands of ordinary people risking their own money on what they believe will happen next. It sounds impossible, yet every single day, billions of dollars in prediction markets attempt to answer questions that governments, economists, journalists, and even world-famous experts struggle to predict. Will the Federal Reserve cut interest rates? Will Bitcoin reach a new all-time high? Will GPT-6 launch before the end of next year? Will a country elect a new leader? Instead of asking one expert, prediction markets ask everyone. And surprisingly, the crowd is often right. But how can thousands of strangers possibly predict the future better than professionals who have spent decades studying these subjects? That's exactly what we're going to uncover today. Welcome to Oracle Alpha. Before we can understand why prediction markets are becoming one of the world's most powerful forecasting tools, we first need to understand one simple idea. Every prediction is actually a probability. Think about tomorrow's weather. A weather forecast doesn't say, it will definitely rain. Instead, it might say there's a 70% chance of rain. That doesn't guarantee rain. It simply means that based on all the available information, rain is more likely than not. Prediction markets work in almost exactly the same way, except instead of weather satellites and forecasting models, they rely on thousands of people making financial decisions. That changes everything, because opinions are cheap. Money isn't. Anyone can go on social media and confidently predict that Bitcoin will reach $200,000. Anyone can say GPT-6 will launch next month. Anyone can predict an election winner. But prediction markets ask one important question. Are you willing to risk your own money on that prediction? The moment real money enters the equation, human behavior changes. People become more careful. They research more. They verify information. They look for data, because being wrong now has a financial cost. And that's exactly what makes prediction markets so fascinating. One of the biggest prediction platforms today is called Polymarket. If you spend any time on X, Reddit, or crypto communities, you've probably seen screenshots for Polymarket. Its markets appear everywhere during elections, major sporting events, economic announcements, artificial intelligence launches, and even global conflicts. At first glance, it looks surprisingly simple. You open a market, you see a question. For example, will GPT-6 launch before December 31st, 2026? You'll notice two possible outcomes. Yes or no. Each outcome has a price. Suppose the yes share is trading at 70 cents. That doesn't mean you're paying 70 cents for nothing. It means the market currently believes there's approximately a 70% probability that the event will happen. If more people become confident, they start buying yes shares. Demand increases, the price rises, and suddenly, the market believes the probability has become 75%. If negative news appears, people begin selling. Confidence falls. Prices drop. Now the probability becomes 60%. The market is constantly updating itself every second. Unlike traditional forecasts, prediction markets never sleep. Every new piece of information is immediately reflected in the price. Imagine OpenAI suddenly publishes an unexpected announcement. Within seconds, thousands of traders read the news. Some believe it increases the chances of GPT-6 launching earlier. Others disagree. They begin buying and selling simultaneously. The probability changes almost instantly. No committee needs to meet. No television debate is required. No expert panel has to release a report. The market reacts automatically. This process is called price discovery. Every trade contains information. Every buyer believes the market is undervaluing the probability. Every seller believes it's overvalued. The final price represents a balance between thousands of different opinions. But here's where things become even more interesting. Not every trader has the same information. Some traders spend hours reading research papers. Others follow government announcements. Some analyze economic reports. Others study artificial intelligence development. Professional investors monitor global events 24 hours a day. Journalists receive breaking news. Developers notice technical updates. Economists interpret financial data. When all these people participate in the same market, their knowledge gets combined into one constantly changing probability. This idea has a famous name: the wisdom of crowds. The concept suggests that under the right conditions, a large group of independent people can collectively make better predictions than a single expert. Of course, not every crowd is wise. Social media proves that every day. But prediction markets are different because people aren't rewarded for sounding confident. They're rewarded for being correct. If you're right, you earn money. If you're wrong, you lose money. That simple incentive changes everything. Instead of chasing likes, participants chase accuracy. Instead of arguing endlessly, they put their money where their beliefs are. And that's why many economists have considered prediction markets one of the most fascinating forecasting tools ever created. But does that mean Polymarket is always right? Absolutely not. In fact, some of the biggest lessons come from the times when prediction markets are completely wrong. And that's where the story becomes even more interesting. Now you might be wondering, if prediction markets are so powerful, have they actually predicted major events correctly? The answer is yes, on multiple occasions. Prediction markets have successfully reflected changing probabilities during elections, central bank decisions, sporting events, technological announcements, and major geopolitical developments. What's remarkable isn't that they predict everything perfectly. It's how quickly they react when new information appears. Imagine a major news story breaks. Within minutes, sometimes even seconds, the probability inside a prediction market begins to move. Long before newspapers publish detailed articles, long before television experts finish debating, the market has already started adjusting. That's because thousands of participants are processing information at the same time. Some traders react faster than others. Some have better research. Some simply understand the situation more clearly. And together, their decisions create a constantly evolving forecast. But this doesn't mean prediction markets are magic. Sometimes, they get things completely wrong. Why? Because markets are still driven by human beings. Humans can become emotional. They can overreact. They can misunderstand information. And sometimes, they simply don't know what will happen next. Unexpected events can completely change the outcome of any prediction. A surprise annoncement, a legal decision, a technical breakthrough, or a major global event. Everything can change within minutes. That's why probabilities should never be confused with certainty. If a market shows an 80% probability, that still means there's a 20% chance the opposite outcome happens. And 20% is far from impossible. Many beginners make this mistake. They think an 80% probability means something is guaranteed. It doesn't. Probability measures confidence, not certainty. Now let's talk about one of the most important parts of the entire system. The oracle. Imagine a market asks, will GPT-6 launch before December 31st, 2026? Eventually, that date arrives. Now someone must determine whether the answer is actually yes or no. This process is called market resolution. Without a trusted resolution process, prediction markets couldn't function because winners and losers would never be determined fairly. On Polymarket, market resolutions rely on clearly defined rules and trusted sources specified for each market. If the outcome is straightforward, the market resolves quickly. If there's disagreement, there are established processes to review the evidence before reaching a final outcome. This is one of the reasons serious traders always read a market's resolution criteria before placing a trade. Sometimes, the wording of the question matters just as much as the event itself. A small detail can completely change how a market resolves. Understanding those details can make the difference between a profitable trade and a costly mistake. Another common question people ask is, can wealthy traders manipulate prediction markets? The answer is, they can influence prices for a while. But permanent manipulation is much harder than most people imagine. Here's why. If someone pushes the probability far away from what other traders believe is fair, experienced participants often see an opportunity. They trade against the mispricing. As more traders enter, the price usually moves back toward a level that better reflects the available information. In other words, an irrational price can actually attract traders who help correct it. That's one of the strengths of an open market. Still, no market is perfect. Liquidity matters. Market size matters. Information quality matters. Prediction markets are powerful tools, but they are not crystal balls. They don't reveal the future. They simply estimate the most likely outcome based on everything currently known. And that's an important difference. The future can always surprise us. A single unexpected event can change everything. That's why smart traders never confuse probability with certainty. They manage risk. They stay flexible. And they update their views whenever new evidence appears. At Oracle Alpha, that's exactly what we'll do. We won't chase hype. We won't make blind predictions. And we won't promise certainty where none exists. Instead, we'll analyze the data. We'll study market movements. We'll examine how probabilities change after major news. We'll break down Oracle resolutions. And we'll explore the stories hidden behind every market. Because every percentage represents thousands of decisions. Every price reflects collective belief. And every market tells a story about how people think the future will unfold. Whether you're interested in artificial intelligence, politics, economics, sports, or global events, prediction markets offer a unique window into what the world believes might happen next. The goal isn't to predict the future with absolute certainty. The goal is to understand probability better than everyone else. Because those who understand probability often understand the future before everyone else does. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe to Oracle Alpha. Join us as we decode prediction markets, analyze Oracle resolutions, and separate fact from speculation. Thank you for watching. And remember, the future isn't written, but the market is always trying to price it.